Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2. 1. Mark.
Hello everyone, my name is Mark, aka Derringer. Today is Sunday, December 24th, and you are listening to episode 137 of the Instant Action Podcast, your weekly source for Planetside 2 news and information. As always, I'm brought to you by great listeners like you via the Support the Show tab on instantactionpodcast.com. So you're most likely listening to this on December 25th, so want to wish all my listeners Merry Christmas. And with that, what have I been doing? Well, obviously been playing a lot of Planetside 2 lately. I am still going crazy using the NS357 IA Derringer pistol, because why wouldn't I? And again, the only thing that is going to stop me from using that is when, on the 29th, later this week, when the Platinum heavy weapons come out, the Lasher, the Jackhammer, and the Mini Chain Gun. Again, circle your calendar on the 29th if you're looking forward to those like I am. But like I said, been playing a heck of a lot of Planetside 2. All right, that's enough about me, so let's actually talk about what is in store for this week's show. And actually, I just have one thing in store, and it is a visit from Santa Claus himself, or Saint Nick, as people call him. Santa, who are you?
It's me, Nick Silva, producer of Planetside 2.
Yay! It's been a while since I've had a Daybreak Games guest on the show, so thank you for carving out a little time before Christmas to come on and talk to me. I definitely appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me on the show.
This is kind of like a great little Christmas present for the listeners and everything. So really, let's kind of just get right into this and talk about what's actually going on. You're done with Christmas shopping, I assume, correct?
I wish.
No?
There's a couple things I need to get still. But I got
running
the big
out of
ones out
time.
of the way.
You're running out of time.
I have a good plan, though. I've been focused a lot on the game and not so much on Christmas for the last couple of weeks. So.
Understandable. I read the patch notes just like everybody else does. In fact, before we started recording, I did notice the patch notes that you did say join combat, formerly known as Instant Action, and I'm guessing where that's coming from.
Oh, yeah. that's very much from your podcast.
And that's something I want to talk about, because the fact that you have listened to my podcast really humbles me a lot. It kind of blows my mind in a sort of way.
I mean, it's quality content. Wow. You really. I feel like there's a respect for the game there. That you're playing the game and really providing feedback on a level that is respectful and really well informed, and it's also just really entertaining. And I appreciate you managed to reach out into parts of the community that we don't have the chance to really get the full view like you do sometimes. So it's really useful to see another perspective from the game, and thanks for making the podcast.
Like I said, it's kind of humbling in the fact that people who are actually creating the game that I play and talk about are listening to what I say. And I mean, that rolls into the fact that you guys wanted to honor me with, a little piece of Planetside 2 lore or history as my own, and making the NS357 IA. I'm blown away by the fact that you guys would create something like that in my honor and place it into your game. It really, really, really means a lot to me, and I can't express my gratitude enough for something like that. Plus, I'm having a hell of a lot of fun playing with it.
I'm glad you're enjoying it, and you totally deserve to have a weapon in the game for you. You did drop a couple hints here and there that you wanted that gun, so it took us a little while, but we finally got it in there.
Well, I'm not going to say that someone specifically said that they might have been working on something like that. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I also hope that doing something like that is not going to turn into a slippery slope where now you've got other people who think they're huge members of the community demanding something like that in games. So I hope that doesn't get you guys in trouble.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't get us in trouble either, but so far so good. And, we're going to do our best to honor community members that, are long-term sort of just really been there for a while and contribute in a lot of ways. We're going to do our best to honor those people as well.
Well, you've done some other honoring type things. I think it might have been before your time, like the J908 renaming after one of the deceased players is an example of how you guys have honored other players in games and things like that. So maybe I'm not the first.
Yeah.
But enough about me, and I could talk about myself all day. In fact, there are certain times that I do, and some people get bored of that, and I'm talking about my wife. But let's go on into actual stuff with the game itself, because now that I actually have a chance to sit down and talk with you, I have questions about the game that maybe you could shed a little light on. And the first direction I want to go is I want to talk about Combined Arms Initiative and Critical Mass Update and kind of get what your guys' thoughts are. I mean, you and I have both seen the community response to it. I think there's a vocal minority out there that really dislike the Combined Arms Initiative and think that it's the wrong direction that the game's going. I personally don't sway that way because I play infantry a lot more than anything else, and the changes to Combined Arms really don't affect me too much in the game itself. But I'm curious what your opinion on it is, being the producer of Planetside 2.
Yeah, my opinion on it is that it's a step in the right direction, and I know a lot of people disagree. But there's so much more room for improvement there. And the system we're not happy with where the system is. We want to continue looking at the data of how people are playing the game, collecting anecdotes from people. And we do pay attention to, especially Reddit, with people talking about their opinions of how, the system is balanced. And so we're going to continue to pay attention to that stuff, and we're going to continue to make balance changes. And we're hoping that as we continue to make changes, and some of them are going to be, we're going to revert some of the changes, but not all of them, whenever it makes sense. And hopefully we continue to just move the quality level and the balance level in the right direction for Combined Arms. Now, for Meltdown, we felt like that was a pretty positive change to the game. But I was also concerned about some of the elements of the system that we're only now just sort of getting to dealing with. I was really concerned with the amount of people that were stuck in VR training. And so we already have a change that's up on PTS right now. It's going to allow players who are waiting or queued up for a continent to zone into Koltyr. And Koltyr hasn't been getting a lot of use lately, so we're finally looking to sort of give it or to raise it up a little bit and give people a chance to have a little bit more fun playing around with the other factions instead of just sort of hanging out and shooting at just NPC dummies. They'll be able to actually participate in a little bit of combat on Koltyr while they're waiting for to get onto the continent and really get in where the real action is. And now, I encourage people. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, from reading the notes itself, it sounds like you're going to have 2 instances at any given time at the same time going. So, I mean, we're talking about a grand total of 66 players from each faction kind of in there. Is that right?
Yeah. And I mean, we that's one of the things that we need to look at closer. And we realize we can't test at scale on PTS. So if we need to allow for more instances of Koltyr for people to be able to participate in Koltyr while they're waiting to get onto a main continent, that's a technical problem that we're going to have to address. But really, it's probably going to have to wait until we actually deploy the system. But we feel like that's going to be enough for the 2 overpopped factions and the people that are interested in because really, when you're waiting to get onto a continent, we're noticing the wait times are not like excessive, but we're going to be interested to see like how many people are actually interested in participating in combat on Koltyr, being that it's VR rules. So you have access to everything, and minus some of the like the main battle tank and the Liberator. But and there's going to be no experience gained there. So really, it's just an area to just like VR training, to try things out and participate in a little bit of mock it's real combat in this case. But you really want to be getting onto the main zones to take advantage of those loot tables that you get for capturing continents and for gaining experience.
And I imagine that new players, though, they're not going to get to experience Koltyr whatsoever anymore. They're just going to be kind of driven to the live servers, right?
That's what we were already noticing was happening anyways. There's not a large enough influx of new players to maintain a viable population on Koltyr. It's basically where our logic is coming from. And we that's actually a good segue, because in 2018, we're going to be working really hard to improve the new player experience. And part of that is going to be delivering some new tutorials. And so hopefully we're going to have done a much better job than the existing new player tutorial system, the existing tutorial system, and get prepared for preparing players to actually participate in combat in Planetside 2. One of the other we're looking into, although we're not currently working on a mentorship program. We're trying to figure out what is the best way to actually guide players into Planetside 2, and really the best way is to have other players show you the ropes and immediately start participating in squad level gameplay, because that's where Planetside is at its best, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Their first thing should be get into a squad or join an outfit, something along those lines, because those are the people that are going to teach you how to play the game itself. And I'm sure once people listen to this show and see that the talk is they're going to be you're not necessarily looking towards a mentorship program. I imagine a lot of people are going to start throwing suggestions out there on what you should do for a new player system that I'm sure you'll get a lot of information from, probably from Reddit, most likely.
I would love to see some threads surrounding how a mentorship program, what people think would be attractive to veteran players, to actually encourage them to take on new players as their sort of students.
Right, because they're going to need a reason, otherwise they're not going to do it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we're looking into potentially having exclusive unlockables for players that mentor other players, but that's just one idea that's out there right now of how to encourage players to become mentors.
And of course, you say that's one idea out there. I'm just going to remind anybody listening that when he says it's an idea, it's an idea. It doesn't mean it's set in stone. So people shouldn't start penciling in on their calendars that they're going to start getting exclusives for mentoring other people, right?
Exactly. Yeah. When that system is coming, we will let everyone know.
You can't just say something like that. Everybody's going to start writing it down as fact, right? We both know how the community works sometimes.
Sometimes they're a great community, though. Like I think that we have one of the best online communities, especially of all the Daybreak games.
I don't have any experience with the other ones. Well, I mean, I know a bunch of people who play DCUO, and I think they've got a pretty decent community as well. But I wouldn't trade them for the Planetside 2 community any day.
Neither would I.
So I guess that also, speaking of segues, it makes another good segue, because I know new player experience is something you're going to be focusing on in 2018. But you also said during the live stream that outfits, squad, incentives, those are the things going to be something you're focusing on in 2018 as well, correct?
Yeah, we want to shore up the game on both ends. We want to shore it up on the new player experience side of things. What is the game like for players who are installing and running the game for the first time, or maybe returning to the game and it's been a long time and they don't know a lot about what's going on now. But we also want to really sort of flesh out the systems around outfits and squad play, and incentivize leadership by adding new powerful abilities to squads and squad leaders and outfits. And we will be talking about it a lot more as 2018 rolls on here, but there's going to be a form of outfit progression where outfits are actually going to be working towards new powerful abilities and also more ability to customize their outfits.
I know that was hinted at on the live stream too, that you might be working on something like that, but no definitive info was available on that yet. I'm interested in stuff like that. I mean, my squad and my outfit do a ton of stuff, and it'll actually be interesting if there's some outfit progression, because I play with the guys in Black Arrows, Joke, and the Jokuza, and so we have an outfit on all three factions. Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting when you throw something like that into the mix, because we're going to have to choose one to play, especially if some of the outfit progression takes a long time to accomplish. Am I right?
Yeah, and so part of it is that that some of this outfit progression will take a while, and it'll take a lot of players all pulling in the same direction to actually to unlock some of these new outfit abilities and customizations. But also, part of the system is going to, and maybe I'm saying too much here. Rel's going to give it to me.
Then don't make him mad at you on Christmas. That would be bad.
Yeah, we'll just say that we want to address Zerg fits. That we don't think that it's in the spirit of the game to just recruit every person that you see. That we want outfits to be more of a curated roster, and that everyone should be part of a team. Feel like they're part of an outfit, not just sort of all jumping into the same sort of pool of players. So
let me tell you, you just made the top post on Reddit when I release this on Monday. Daybreak Games hates Zerg fits. That's what it's going to say. I can already see it.
I'm sorry to any Zerg fits out there that. But
what about the NC
really...
the NC outfit on Emerald, which is called Zerg? What are they going to do?
They got to get their crap together. If they are playing at the level that we're hoping that outfits play at, then they're very much welcome to call their outfit whatever they want. But really, what we're hoping for is for to really incentivize players to play at a higher strategic level and together as a team.
That should be their goal to begin with. So, if you got to push them in one direction for that, so be it.
And we're not going to reward. And what I'm really getting at is we don't want to reward outfits that just recruit a bunch of people.
Gotcha. That makes sense to me, because I know there's some out there that just spam invites constantly, and they're kind of annoying.
Yep.
So that you guys can say, Derringer said that, not Nick, that they're annoying. So I'll take some of the heat off you for this one if you want.
Okay, you can edit it out in post. Thanks for that.
So speaking of taking heat, let's change topics. Do a complete 180, because I want to talk about the Canis, and I knew you already could tell that's where I was going. Am I right?
I could sense this was going to come up. Yes.
I guess the question is, why did something that overpowered make it into the game itself? And what's the answer so that doesn't happen again in the future? And are you going to give something overpowered to the Terran Republic next patch because they deserve it? Things like that. So I'm just curious what the thought process is behind the Canis and how we got to the situation we got to in game itself, where some really skilled players kind of shit on some really bad players at some point.
Sure, yeah. And I mean, it's unfortunate that we clearly put something out that was overpowered, and we did our best to get a patch out as soon as possible. So the logic behind why we had to nerf it so fast and how we put something out that was clearly overpowered is it was based on a new weapon mechanic, and we're trying to really come up with some new and fresh ways for these weapons to feel and to interact with the game. And clearly, this new weapon mechanic it ended up working out much better for the VS than it did for the other two factions. NC got a pretty vanilla but pretty awesome SMG. The Jackal has its burst fire mechanic that maybe warrants a little bit of tweaking. But that's the other thing I wanted to get at was we're going to continue to look at how these weapons are being used, how effective they are, and there's going to be balance changes that happen on these weapons. In the future, we want to continue to bring unique weapon mechanics to all of these faction specific weapons, and that is going to bring with it the danger that we're going to once again drop a weapon that turns out to be a little more powerful than we expected. We're going to do our best to get these weapons onto PTS and let them soak there so players can check them out. I am aware that we got traffic that was going back and forth on Reddit that was warning us that this was overpowered before we went live with it. We should have heeded those warnings more, but hindsight is 2020. We're going to do our best to pay attention to feedback as we put, the LMGs will be going up on PTS next. We're going to do our best to be paying attention to the feedback that comes from the community on those, as well as playing around with the weapons ourselves on test with you guys.
Well, I personally appreciate the fact that you guys want to play around and try out new mechanics for weapons in the game itself. And I think it's good that, you put one out there, it's a little overpowered, a lot overpowered, who knows? Let's not split hairs. But that you do learn from something like that, and that it hasn't stopped you from still wanting to create a unique mechanic for weapons in the game itself. And I'm sure there are players out there that are screaming into their phones right now as they're listening to this saying, I don't want new mechanics, I just want guns that work, but I, for one, do appreciate the fact that you're willing to play around and give us something unique and different in the game itself and constantly experiment with stuff like that. So you do get my props on something like that, even though we did get an overpowered gun in the game for a little while. Yeah.
And once again, apologies to the community for that. But I hope it was interesting at the very least, like that it wasn't a really terrible experience for too many people. And that
from the videos I watched, they had some amazing times.
Yeah, some people had some really good times, right? It's really a question of the people that were getting killed by this weapon, how terrible did that feel? I imagine if it was happened over and over again, not so great. So apologies to those people, and we're going to do our best to not create experiences like that or not have to release hot fixes quickly to nerf stuff back. That's
regardless of that. We can both agree that the weapons Doku put together are just some of the most amazing ones in game at this point.
Oh, they look amazing. And that's maybe one of the funnest things that's happened all year for me was just to basically get back those the early renders of those weapons and just look at them and be like, oh my God, they look amazing. Like, I cannot wait to share this with everybody. So, they're some of my favorite weapons, at least the look of them in the entire game.
I totally have to agree. I mean, the Canis just looks so unique and so Vanu-esque. It fits perfectly. The Gladius really looks like that beefy weapon that you'd expect a new conglomerate soldier to be running around with.
Yep.
The Jackal looks awesome. I know people complain about how it works, but again, if we're just talking aesthetics alone on these things, they look amazingly good. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the full 3D renders in-game of the LMGs when they come out.
I'm already seeing some of the early animation work that's getting really close to being complete right now, and I'm excited to share those with you guys. I can't wait for them to go up on PTS.
Do we have an ETA on PTS when we might see these LMGs? I know. I shouldn't ask because I don't want to hold you to any hard and fast thing because everything's fluid.
And I feel like the moment that I commit to something that I'm like dooming that date.
So early 2018?
Yes. Oh, definitely.
First quarter 2018.
We've tried it. We've given ourselves the internal goal of releasing one of these weapons once a month. Mm-hmm. Might be a little too ambitious. So, but yes, you guys will be getting at least your first eyes on the LMG on PTS before January's over. I'm fairly confident about that.
Again, everything's fluid though, so when it delays until February, they can't blame you.
Yep, that's true. Please don't blame me.
Yeah, don't blame him. You're nice enough to carve out the time for me, so I'm going to try and get your back on all these as I possibly can. So,
Thank you.
I'll say they're going to be out in January. Derringer said it. Nick didn't say it. Again, you blame it all on me.
You want to take that flack, man?
Hey, I got you guys back. You did me a solid by giving me a pretty cool pistol to play around with. And I didn't even play. I haven't even played with the Canis yet as one of the weapons because, like I said, you guys dropped the pistol on me the exact same day, and I've been using that thing nonstop ever since. The one thing that is going to make me stop using the pistol is on December 29th. And whose decision was it to put a third lasher into the game? Because that's my jam, and I can't wait. Oh,
that's all Rel. He definitely he really ran with the ball on coming up with the doing the platinum heavy weapons, and it was amazing how quickly how positive the response was when we posted those on the Araxmas calendar. So yeah, that was all Rel.
Well, I've Araxiumed both the regular lasher and the AE version of the lasher, so I need a third one to Araxium at this point. I mean, maybe I'm a glutton for punishment, but it is my favorite weapon in the game. So,
what's your strategy? Your primary way of using the lasher?
I like to get in a position where there are multiple enemies running at me, and then I just aim for their feet.
Nice.
And cool. So the splash damage hits them, and then it's really good at a place where the stairs go down and around a corner because you can kind of sit in a window of a building or something and continuously, pepper that corner where people are going to be coming. And when you get the extended ammo on the lashers as well, they just never seem to run out. So that's kind of my strategy. I mean, maybe it's a basic strategy, but that's what's Araxium 2 for me.
The main reason I bring it up is that weapon feels so different to me than most of the other weapons in the game. And I'm really interested in since you have Araxium 2 of them already and plan on doing a third, I was very interested in how you play with that weapon, being that it's so unique.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a lot of aiming at the feet for me. I don't know, and everybody's going to yell at me saying that I'm playing it wrong and I should be aiming for the head, but I find that the splash damage works just well. It's horrible in the open field, but if you can get in a combined area, not a combined, a condensed area like a tower fight or a biolab fight or even in a tech plant, I can rain hell down on people with that lasher. And I know I'm not the only one. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I want to see more weapons in our game that feel different, that you're not just going... I mean, that you still play at a high skill level, but it's not just going for, headshots. Right, so, exactly. Speaking of new weapons in game, I wanted to also give you guys props for the holiday directives that you've done. Obviously, we're past the Halloween one, but I thought the rework of the Halloween directive was excellent. And now the new holiday one that's going on right now, minus the road kills, that one's kind of annoying. Everything else in it is really nice. I mean, the addition of a snowman to hide behind is great. I thought the fact that you do almost nothing and you immediately are awarded a hat to wear was put into the game really well, to get people to do stuff like that. Again, I wanted to give you props on putting together the revamped holiday directives, and I wonder if we're going to see any new ones as we move into 2018 other than just this Halloween and Christmas one that we have going on now.
Yeah, I mean, we're very happy with how those directives turned out, and we feel like it gave players a reason to play the game in a new and fresh way for those events. And I'm not going to lie, though, it took a lot more work than we expected, especially with the Halloween directive. But we want to continue delivering new directives to sort of celebrate different events and give people if only just a brief reason to play the game in a slightly different way. And you're completely not obligated to participate in these directives, but we think it's a lot of fun, and we love adding them. So thank you for noticing our work.
They are a lot of fun, and you're right. It does give people some incentive to get in and play it. I can't tell you how many people I've seen running around in that silly Christmas hat. So
that's good.
I guess I shouldn't say silly because I don't want to disparage the person who designed it, because clearly they did some work on something.
They put a lot of love into that hat.
So we've been going for about a half hour now. I don't want to keep you because, like you said, you've got some Christmas shopping to finish up. But before I let you go, is there anything else coming in 2018 that I need to know about?
No, I think we covered the big ones. Is that we're focusing on that new player experience, and we're also going to be so there are two major focuses there: the new player experience and the outfit and the leadership improvements for squads and outfits. So, and I'm really excited to share the details with you guys once we start prototyping some of these systems, which should be pretty early here in 2018. So stay tuned.
And I'm hoping that you're going to do another dev live stream when some of this stuff comes out.
Oh, for sure. Like as soon as we have some of the early UI mock-ups of how these systems are going to work, there's going to be new resources and completely new systems built around these resources, and we're going to want to show them off. And of course, I'm sure the community is going to have some good feedback for us, so we'll be paying attention.
If anything, it'll give them a reason to type bang raffle, right?
Oh, for sure. And we love our bang raffles.
All right. Well, I got to say once again, thanks for carving out some time for me and coming on this week's podcast. It's going to be released on Christmas Day and allow everybody to listen. And many of them will probably be driving to grandma's house or whatever on that particular day. And hopefully they will tune in and listen to you and I discuss the future of Planetside 2.
So that sounds wonderful. Thanks for having me on. And I hope people have a wonderful holiday.
I hope they have a wonderful holiday too. And how could they not when they've got a great game like Planetside 2 to play? Was that too much? Is that over the top?
I'll take it.
All right. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Well, that is going to be it for this week's show. I think we covered an awful lot with my special guest this week. And I hope to get some more folks from Daybreak Games on in the future and not wait as long as I did since this last one. But like I said, that's it for this week's show. So how can you get in touch with me or the show itself? As always, visit my website, www.instantactionpodcast.com. Send me an email, instantactionshow@gmail.com. Call me, leave me a voicemail, 347-4VM-4PS2 or 347-486-4772. Follow the show on Twitter @InstActPodcast or my personal Twitter @TheDerringer. But in closing, if you've enjoyed the show, please leave me a review on your podcast listening avenue of choice, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere else. Also, feel free to tell your friends and outfit mates about the show. And finally, in addition to, once again, Merry Christmas, thanks for listening, and keep spamming that Join Combat, formerly known as Instant Action button.